Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Hey there, it's Larry, and I'm thrilled to share something incredibly close to my heart. My latest book, Selling in a Post-Trust World, is now available. In today's landscape where trust is harder to come by than ever, I've poured my years of experience into these pages to guide you through connecting genuinely and building lasting relationships with your customers. This book is more than just strategies. It's about transforming the way you sell by being authentic, real, and trustworthy in every interaction. It's for those who believe that integrity and sales can go hand in hand, and for anyone looking to not just meet their quotas, but to truly make a difference in their customers' lives. If you're ready to elevate your sales game and navigate the complexities of selling in a world where skepticism is the norm, Selling in a Post-Trust World is your must-read guide. And here's the best part. Even though it won't hit the bookstores until this summer, you can get your hands on an advanced reader's copy right now. Just head over to sellinginapostrustworld.com or click the link in the show notes, and let's embark on this journey together towards more meaningful, trust-based selling.
Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Oh, hey, Darrell, great seeing you. Another great day here at Selling from the Heart. You know, there's a lot of things I love about Selling from the Heart. One thing I really do appreciate is all our guests who come on to the Selling from the Heart podcast and share their pearls of wisdom. Today, we're in for a real treat, Darrell.
Dave Kales in the house. This is going to be an incredible conversation. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm excited that everybody's been getting their hands on Selling in a Post-Trust World. Larry, the advanced reader's copy, you're signing them, you're sending them. This is kind of unprecedented. This book doesn't officially release until this summer, but as a listener to the Selling from the Heart podcast, you can get an advanced reader's edition. That's the book itself. It's printed. It's on paper. It looks beautiful and it's autographed. And all you got to do is go to sellinginapostrustworld.com, link in the show notes. Get an advanced reader's copy. How cool is that?
Oh, let me tell you, this was years in the making, Darrell. You know this. So for all of you who enjoyed Selling from the Heart, you're going to absolutely enjoy Selling in a Post-Trust World.
Yeah, so go to sellinginapostrustworld.com. And once again, thank you to everybody who's out there sharing the book, smiling, holding it up on social. This movement of trust and authenticity continues to grow in the sales industry. And we're so thankful for you being a part of that.
No, absolutely. Hey, and before you welcome on Dave, I just want to give a special shout out to somebody who's near and dear to us in the podcast. That's Mary Grothy, past podcast guest. Mary Grothy is a rock star. I've enjoyed getting to know her. Mary, we appreciate you. You're a true Selling from the Heart champion.
Here, hats off, Mary. Keep up the amazing, amazing work that you do. Well, speaking of amazing, today we're joined by Dave Kales. He is a master in boosting sales and market share for all kinds of industries, especially wholesale distributors. Dave offers a transformative 16-month sales system training program tailored for sales teams of 5 to 200 members, aiming to improve results through strategic conversations and skill development. His approach empowers salespeople to enhance their effectiveness, align with their teams, and significantly increase sales. Dave's methods have proven successful in changing behaviors, fostering better customer connections, and driving sales growth. For CEOs and VPs of sales looking to elevate their teams, Dave provides a personalized consultation to discuss goals and potential collaboration. All around, we've got an incredible sales expert here with us in the studio. Dave, welcome to Selling from the Heart. It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Oh, we're in for a treat. Super grateful to have you on, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, as we get started, Dave, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you, Dave, to sell from the heart?
Well, you know, I think in today's world, selling is more difficult than ever. And I think it begins with a real respect for the customer and a respect for the role that you have. So selling from the heart means you respect and care for and are thankful for not only your customers, but the situation that you're in, that you have this, you're privileged to have this opportunity to work with the folks that you work with. And I think that that implies several different things. And one of the real core implications is that I like to use the phrase "think about it before you do it." But I think today's world more than ever requires salespeople to be fully prepared for every moment that they're going to ask their customers to spend with them. And that means preparation, planning and preparation to a degree that maybe a lot of salespeople just have never done in the past. So that's my first thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dave, and thanks for sharing. And I want to key on the word you just used, and that's preparation. Can you let's just talk about this for a moment. What's preparation look like?
Yeah,
to Dave Kale.
Yeah. Well, when in my first sales job, I was selling amplification equipment to classrooms of hearing impaired children. I had the state of Michigan, and I came to the conclusion. I was a young guy, my first professional sales position. I came to the conclusion that 50% of the success a field salesperson gets is due to the work he does by himself when he's not in front of the customers. 50% of the time is spent with the customers, okay, but the time that you spend away from the customer, and preparation means a lot of things. It means understanding your product. It means researching the customer. It means things like practicing presentations. Like one of the jobs I had, and this is just, maybe this is old school, but one of the jobs I had, we went to Mill Valley, California for 6 weeks. And memorized 2 3-page single type presentations. And we gave them to the sales training class, had it videotaped, critiqued it, and did it again. We did that for 6 weeks. You can imagine. Wow. So, is that preparation? Yeah, that's preparation.
Yeah, it is.
Is planning your territory thoroughly? Is that preparation? Yes, that's preparation. Is getting to know your customers deeper, doing some research on them? Is that preparation? Yes, that's preparation. So it's all those things that you do when you're not in front of the customer that honestly are half of your success comes from how well you do those things.
Well, and that's exciting because you can control that. And so much of the sales world, feels out of control. I think it's why a lot of people have subtle fears and avoid the sales profession in general as they go, I can't control my income. But you're saying that 50% of the actions of a successful salesperson, that 50% of preparation is something that's absolutely under your control. That sounds actually very encouraging for someone who might be listening in, who's sitting on the fence as to whether or not they should get in sales.
Yeah, of course, I've always been big on planning and preparation and so on. And one of my books is called 11 Secrets of Time Management for Salespeople. And I'm a great believer in time management for salespeople. And one of the reasons for that is you can make almost immediate impact on a salesperson's performance by improving their time management, as opposed to some of the core communication skills. So, for example, you can teach somebody to ask better questions. I mean, that's a core skill, and everybody should be able to do that better. But let's say you teach a sales team to ask better questions. When will you begin to see results in economic terms? It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while until, but if you impose some disciplines, time management disciplines, and they plan their territory more effectively, you can see results next week. See, so time management is the quickest way. Improving time management is the quickest way to improve a salesperson's performance.
Hey, Dave, what's interesting about this is in the last part of the trust formula, Dave, we talk about discipline habits. And inside discipline habits is what you just spoke about. Yeah. Ask a vast majority of salespeople out there, probably even sales leaders as well. What are some of the areas that you struggle with? Set aside prospecting. First thing that's going to come up is time management. And that's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, you used a couple of words that I use all the time, and that's discipline and habits.
Yeah.
And time management is a discipline. It absolutely is a discipline. You do these things not because they feel good, not because you like it, but because it's a good thing to do. So, we have for example, one of the things that we teach is prioritizing accounts based on their potential. Okay. And there's a system for ranking, it's a pretty involved system for ranking accounts on their potential and turning them into ABC and then spending half your time with the A's and half the time with the rest of them. And but it takes discipline. Mm-hmm. And a lot of salespeople want to shortcut it and make it easy and simple. And it's not easy. And it's not simple, but it's incredibly effective if you discipline yourself to do it the right way. That's an issue. That is really an issue. And I find myself, over and over again talking about you can do things better if you do it the right way. There are best mm-hmm. practices in the world of sales. Just like there are best practices in every other profession, mm-hmm. things that are proven to be successful, behaviors that are proven to be successful. And the wise salesperson mimics those behaviors and puts them into his or her routines with discipline and mindfulness. Absolutely.
I want to dive a little deeper into this time management issue because this is something we haven't talked about in the podcast for some time, pun intended right now. But this is something that I think is really, I couldn't agree more, is a massive game changer in terms of how we think about time. So I'm curious, how do salespeople get it wrong when they're thinking about time, when they look at a week or a month or a quarter of calendar ahead? Where do salespeople think incorrectly about time?
Well, first of all, a lot of them don't think. So that's an issue.
Yes, mic drop moment right there.
Yeah.
So let's think about time.
Exactly. Step A.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. Let's take some dedicated time and think about it. Okay. So that's number one. And some salespeople will go about their jobs habitually, without forethought. So in other words, it's Tuesday at 10 o'clock. You're at this account. Why are you here? Well, because it's 10 o'clock on Tuesday, So it's just, they just go through their routines habitually. And that's too bad because habits, bad habits eliminate thoughtfulness, So number one, habitually. Number two, I think the thing that a lot of salespeople do, and it's so easy to do this, and that is be more reactive than is necessary. So in other words, where do you go next week? Well, it depends who calls this week, So that's a totally reactive. No, we need to be somewhat reactive because we're responding to customers with their needs and so on. But when we allow every phone call and every email to dictate what we do with this incredibly valuable asset that we call our time, that's a mistake. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, salespeople have a tendency to err on the side of being too reactive and not enough proactive. So there's a couple starting points right there.
And I love this because I love that you brought up proactive, and I agree with you. A lot of it's reactive. And the first word that comes to mind, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Dave, is where do we draw boundaries? Where do salespeople draw boundaries when it comes to guarding some of their time to make it non-negotiable so it does become more proactive?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with a clear, what I call cold-blooded assessment of where your sales time is best invested. And even that phrase, mm-hmm. I use that all the time in our time management seminars, invest your sales time where it will get the best return on investment. Wow, investing sales mm-hmm. time. That's for a lot of salespeople, that's a new thought. They never heard those words put together that way before. So it begins with a cold-blooded analysis of where your time is best invested, and then everything kind of moves off of that. That's the first set of priorities, and then you move backward from there. And it's sometimes at some point you're going to have to learn a word that's very difficult for salespeople to say, and I struggle with it. So no, wait a minute, no, wait, no,
we hear it all.
There you go. There you go. We hear no all the time. Oh, Dave.
But saying no just it runs so counter to salesperson's personality and so on. But if you have too much to do and not enough time in which to do it, by the way, every presentation I make, I ask everybody in the audience, how many people here have too much to do and not enough time which to do it? Everybody's hand goes up. Okay. So if that's your situation, then you got to be thoughtful about how you invest your time, and where you think about all the different priorities. What is the top priority for a salesperson? It's customers. So let's be very thorough and methodical about how we invest our time in our customers, and then back everything off of that. So your territory plans, your transportation plans, how much time you spend it off, all that is a function of the first priority, spending your time where it will get the best investment, the best return on investment.
It's so powerful. And I'm curious, when it comes to managing time, what do you recommend that reps do on a weekly and monthly basis to evaluate this?
Yeah. Well, first, so I have a rhythm. Here's how it goes. Annually, I recommend a 2 or 3 day planning retreat. And in that planning retreat, you set your goals for the year, you clean up your files, you do that kind of maintenance kind of stuff. But you also do this ABC analysis that I mentioned. And that's a pretty thorough thing, and it's going to take you a day or two. And so you take a couple days once a year to get it all together, organized, clarified, described, and so on. Then once a month, you do take a half hour to an hour to do a monthly plan and a monthly review. And in our selling system, we have a form, 2-page form. We ask every salesperson to complete a 2-page form to plan the month. Not every moment of every day, not every sales call, but the most important things you can do in this month. What are they? What accounts, et cetera, et cetera. It's 2-page plan. So 2 pages once a month. So annually, couple days, once a month, about an hour or so, once a week, Saturday morning, Sunday evening, whatever fits best for you. You get yourself organized for the week, and that could be an hour or so, depending. You get everything together for the calls you're going to make. You need files, you need to review things, you need samples, whatever it is. Get yourself organized once a week, and that's a dedicated time. You chunk it off in your calendar, and you do it every week, every day. At the end of the day, not in the morning, at the end of the day, you get yourself organized for the next day. And, maybe that's a half hour, maybe it's an hour, it just depends. But, and then one more, and then immediately before every sales call, take 10 minutes and just think it through. What's your agenda? What are you going to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Who are you going to try to see? Just think it through so that you have it top of mind. And that's the rhythm. That's the rhythm that we recommend and teach in all the time management programs.
Oh, this is so powerful. I want to go back to the very beginning because I saw Darrell's eyebrows, Dave, just raise on this planning on a yearly basis. And quite frankly, this is going to probably be foreign language to a lot of salespeople, unfortunately. But just walk us through, if you can, the benefits to a salesperson when you can sit down at the end of a year and plan and just take a couple days off and just look at, hey, this is what I got to look forward to, and this is what I'm going to be doing the next year. What's the power behind that?
Yeah,
because I think this is foreign to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad. It's too bad it's foreign. But it ought not to be. And of course, we try to fix that. But
sure.
But so what's the power behind it? I think you mentioned it already. One of the primary benefits, and one of you said in control. Mm-hmm. So when first of all, you organize goals, you organize your customers, you organize your information systems, your electronic and paper files and whatever, you get it all organized. And if you're organized and you have described your goals and where you're going to invest your time, you feel like you're in control. Mm-hmm. It gives you a benchmark. See, so a ruler to compare everything with. So if you say, I'm going to call on these 5A accounts, every other week, and a C account calls and says, hey, I got a problem. I need you to run back and make an emergency delivery. You say, it doesn't fit my goal. So I'm going to say, why don't you call customer service and have them do it for you? I'm not able to. And you keep what you previously decided you were going to do. Since you thought about it before you did it, you've already decided, and it makes that decision in that particular case, it makes it easy. So because you got a benchmark, you can compare everything against that benchmark of how you plan. So I would say number one, it's control. Number two, it's you get better results.
Yeah.
Duh. You're gonna sell more. Honestly, just and that's why you do it. So there's a couple right off the top of my head.
So powerful. Anyone that hangs out at the podcast knows I'm a big believer in taking that planning retreat time to really do that. Mm-hmm. You've talked about thinking things through before you go into a meeting, before you really do anything in sales. And I got to say, and I've got to confess, I'm going to confess for myself on behalf of the majority of the community of sales professionals. We think we're good at things because we wing it. Let's all just be honest, right? We think we're great at winging it, but behind all that, there's this discipline of thinking through things in advance combined with the preparation we talked about earlier. Talk to us about how you look at thinking things through before you go into a situation.
That's a rule of life.
Sure is.
I got it. That's a lot of salespeople think that they can wing it. Oh man, I'm good on my feet. But so what? And that's when I said respect for the customer. That shows disrespect for the customer because you don't respect the customer enough to spend some time planning for the time you're going to spend with them. Shame on you. I mean, shame on you. Yeah. So, gee, what was the question again? I got off on it.
Well, I just wanted you to unpack for us what it looks like to you to think through things in advance as a sales professional. This is a very powerful concept.
Yeah. Well, we can go for a week on layers and layers and layers of what that means. But I think a good starting point in thinking it through is imagine the time that you're going to spend. Imagine the time that customer is going to spend with you. How can you make that time most valuable to him or her? Mm-hmm. That's a great starting point. And the thinking about it before you do it. I mean, we've talked about the rhythm of an annual planning meeting. So that's all part of it. That all fits under that umbrella. But if I had one thing to say, I'd say, particularly in today's world, 10 years ago, you could show up. You could just show up and think that you were going to see somebody and you could wing it. In today's world, you cannot because people all those customers are overwhelmed. They have too much to do, not enough time in which to do it, just like you. And particularly with the increase in, video technology, sales calls are being done on video. And you know what? You cannot just wing it when you're on a video call that somebody has got you in their calendar for a half hour. Man, you better be organized. You better have an agenda. Yep. You better be 100%. On top of it. So the technology is putting pressure, rightfully so, on salespeople to be more prepared. So again, there's we can go on for hours on the implications, but if you want one simple rule, it's think about the time you're going to spend from the customer's point of view and make it as valuable to that customer as you can.
Hey, Dave, thanks for sharing this because in Selling from the Heart, I talk a lot about this and I poke the bear at it. I know you talk about it as well. There's a massive difference between a sales rep and a sales professional.
Oh, absolutely.
And the things that you've been speaking about, that's what sales professionals do. And I know you go deep into talking about, some of the characteristics and so forth, the sales professionals. That's what we've been talking about this whole time together with you is these are what sales professionals do. They pay attention to these things, right, Dave?
Absolutely. And, there's a thing about being a professional. It's still a lot of salespeople don't consider themselves to be professional, and that's too bad because there's some expectations for a professional. One expectation is a minimum standard of knowledge and behavior. I mean, every profession has a minimum. You got to pass something approved by somebody to get into the profession, and there is the other expectation of continuous improvement. So when you say I'm a professional, you then accede to some of these expectations for professionals. You accede to the fact that you've got to continually improve yourself forever. It's not a thing you did in school. It's part of your life. I tell everybody you have two jobs. You're doing your job and improving yourself. You got to do both forever, and professionals understand that. I have a little story I tell to illustrate this. When so my wife and I were foster parents. Over the years, we had 19 foster children, and one of them stuck. So Kelly, who we adopted as a foster child, wanted to go to EMT school when she graduated from high school. So we sent her to EMT school. She went through the school, but then, in order to be certified as a basic EMT, which is the lowest level rung on an EMT, you had to pass a test, a computerized test, and you had to pass a practical exam where you took blood pressures and stuff. So she had to show that she could do it, and she had to show that she knew it. Two things. And we waited for her. So the exam was on a computer. We waited for the results, and they came in an envelope, nice little envelope with a certificate, and said, "Congratulations, you're now a basic EMT." And then it said, "As you know, if you want to keep your basic EMT certification, you must, on your own, in the next 24 months, find, enroll in, successfully complete, and document 30 hours of continuous improvement training. And if you don't, we're taking your certificate away." This is a certificate for a minimum wage job. But it's a profession. See, there was an entry level. You had to have a minimum standard to be allowed. And then you had the expectation of continuous improvement forever, if you're a professional. So there's a couple things right there. I mean, there's more, but there's a couple things right there that are characteristics of professionals. And when we start to call salespeople professionals, we just expect those expectations to carry through.
Wow.
Oh, shout that one a little. Hey, Dave, you got to shout that one a little loud for the people in the back 40.
I get
pumped up on some of this stuff.
No. But
I love it.
But what I absolutely respect about what you just said is those are the things that professionals have to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know right now we've got a bunch of sales professionals listening in going, I want to do more professional development. So how do I get more Dave Kale in my life?
Yeah. Well, DaveKale.com is a good starting point. I do webinars. I'll be honest with you. I don't go places and speak anymore. I mean, I've had a lot of years doing 300 flights a year. I'm done with that, So if you want me to come and speak up, I'll do it over Zoom, but I'm not, I'm done, flying off and spending nights in hotels and so on. That ship has sailed. So anyway, but we have webinars, we have videos. I do a monthly webinar for salespeople. We have videos, we have training courses, consulting, projects. I mean, everything's there. Books, I've written 13 books, so they're all available. And, so to go to davekale.com, that's the starting point, and then,
awesome.
Go from there.
Oh, Dave, hey, Darrell, this has been really good, but I got to ask Dave one question before Dave goes off to a nice, great rest of his day. Is you've talked about time management and planning. Big question. How does Dave Kale plan for his morning? What's that look like?
You mean every morning?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I do what I teach, and that is I plan it the night before. So nice. At the end of the day, and there's a reason for that, by the way, and a couple of reasons. One is you plan the next day at the end of the previous day because everything's still fresh in your head. If I don't know about you, but if I let it go a couple of days, I've lost half of it. So I want to write it down and make my plans and my to-do lists and everything, put it all together the day before. The other reason I do it the day before is it frees you, F-R-E-E, frees you, because you subconsciously you got it together, you're ready to go tomorrow. You don't need to worry about it. And so you're free. You're free of that stuff working on your head all the time. You can enjoy your family, your whatever you want to do because you're free. You got it organized. You're ready to go. So there's that. And, I have some routines that I do, morning routines and so on, but I always plan it the day before, the end of the day before.
I love it.
By the way, that's okay. So we talked about habits and disciplines. There you go. There's a discipline that turns into a habit.
Yes.
And do I recommend it to salespeople? Oh, absolutely. Every salesperson should be doing that. Every single salesperson should be doing that, period.
Amen, Dave Kale.
Dave, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible.
Thanks.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. What a practical conversation from so many different angles. Larry, I really, really enjoyed this time with Dave today.
Yeah, it's just, this thing could have went on for a while because I just love to talk around time management, discipline, habits. I think everyone's searching for the holy grail in sales. Again, I'm throwing a stake in the ground on this unfortunately, we're looking for the quick tip, silver bullet, quick hack. Tell me how to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, least amount of work. Guess what? It requires some work. It requires consistency and discipline and mapping out your day. And it all starts with how do you capture your time?
I love that. And I love the cadence of being prepared, being intentional, and having that rhythm to planning that begins with planning the day before. It continues with planning the week before, the month before. And you know what? With this, it's not too far until we're halfway through the year and summer. And I know Dave was talking about a beginning of the year retreat. This might, if not, be a bad idea. In fact, this might be a fantastic idea.
I know where you're going with this.
Is to take some time, literally block off some time, halftime, if you will. You play a football game, you're going to have halftime. You play, well, I was going to say hockey, but you get 3 periods in that. Totally bad analogy. But you're going to get halftime. Many of you are coming up on halftime through the year. This would be a great time to block off a few days, not just for some fun in the sun. You definitely want to do that over the summer, but block off a couple days to sit down and reflect. Where am I so far this year? How am I doing against my plan? Don't have a plan? Make a plan. Let's get intentional about all of this together, and let's set ourselves up to be true sales professionals. And one thing that's true about professionals value their time and they plan for it. And so what Dave shared today is incredibly practical. Encourage you to go get his book on time management, and let's make sure that we are being sales professionals when it comes to how we manage our most valuable asset.
Yeah, and just to play along, with that, just for a quick second, Darrell, is this would be a great time as well. Learn what to say yes to. Also unpack when to say no.
So powerful. What a great conversation. We got so many great things happening here, and I appreciate you investing your time with us here today. Hopefully this is part of your continuing education, is continuing to grow so that we are true sales professionals. Make sure to like or subscribe on the platform on which you listen, because throughout the summer, we've got incredible guests coming up. By the way, don't forget to get your advanced reader's copy of Selling in a Post-Trust World. And Larry, also huge thank you to everybody who is commenting on the podcast and leaving a review. This is helping us spread this movement of authenticity and trust right here in this sales profession we all love.
Absolutely. And we just thank all of our guests for investing their time and coming on the podcast. It's our commitment to you to bring fresh voices, new ideas, new insights to help you all become better in the world of sales.
That's right. Until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust. Think through how you plan your time, and most of all,
sell from the heart.